Hello and welcome to part 2 of our exploration of Twelfth Night. Didn't mention before in the last video about the alternate title of what you will. That's interesting in terms of you can link this to ideas about identity, as in like what you will, what you define yourself to be, actually is important in the play. And I'll say more about Twelfth Night as a festival when it actually reaches a more relevant point. A real play, but you might know all this anyway. But anyway, I will talk about it. So we're going to Act 1, Scene 2. I'll talk about it a bit later. So we've had Orsino in the first scene. We've seen how he's in love with the idea of being in love. We've known that he's obsessed with Olivia. And now introduced to another main character, which is Viola. Notably, of course, first scene talking about music. We had musicians. There's lots of music in this play. And viola, of course, is the name of a musical instrument. Can't be a coincidence. Also, in the first scene, notice, of course, Orsino was talking about violets. He was personifying violets. And now we've got a character called Violet with a very similar name. So keep an eye on all of this. There's lots of things going on. Then Viola is also a partial anagram of Olivia as well. You see lots of stuff going on. No words or even letters wasted when it comes to Shakespeare. So we've got Viola, a captain, and sailors. What country friends is this? So Shakespeare always uses media res, starting. We join him halfway through a scene. As he starts a scene, things have already happened before it. In this case, there's been a shipwreck. That's quite a big thing for us to miss, but it would have been very hard for Shakespeare to stage a shipwreck realistically with the technology and stagecraft of the time. So we said about Illyria there as well. What country friends is this? So she's washed up after a shipwreck. My brother, he is in Elysium. Perchance he is not drowned. So Shakespeare deliberately parallels the situation with Olivia as well. Remember, Olivia has lost her brother and she's grieving. Viola has lost her brother, but you'll see as a character she's much more decisive, she's much more in control. Yeah, you will see. And Viola is given these interrogatives. She's very much in control, in command here. She's of a higher social status than the men that she's with. Of course, in Shakespeare's time, female characters were played by male actors, but this was just a standard thing of the time. That was just something that was a cultural convention of the era. Women weren't allowed to act in that era. It is perchance that you yourself were saved. Oh, my poor brother, and so perchance may he be. So there's an element of hope there. Maybe he's not dead. So she has lost a brother. He might be drowned. He might be dead, but she's clinging on to some hope. So there's an interesting, again, Shakespeare's paralleling the Viola situation with Olivia's situation. Captain offers a glimmer of hope as well. I saw your brother. So during the storm and the ship being smashed apart, most provident in peril, bind himself, courage and hope both teaching him the practice to a strong mast that lived upon the sea. So as the ship's breaking up, he tied himself to a mast, and then there's a nice simile here. Like Orion on the dolphin's back, I saw him hold acquaintance with the waves as long as I could see. So he may have survived. Viola's pleased with this, so she gives him a bit of dosh, gives him some money. Then, with Viola's uncertainty about the area, we've got the captain as a character who does know the area. It allows Shakespeare to offer some exposition very naturally, so the audience have an idea of what the social situation is in this country. So who governs here? A noble duke, in nature as in his name. What's in his name? Orsino. And actually, again, we've already met Orsino, so the jigsaw puzzle is really forming for us here. Shakespeare is building up the plot. A lot of the audience of Shakespeare's time would have been familiar with the plot of the play. They would know the story about the twins who get separated, and they know about the disguise elements of this plot. I don't want to spoil too much in case you don't know it, but I will say a little bit. But anyway, that is that element to it there as well. Some of the audience would have known the story already because, again, that was something that was normal of the time. Playwrights didn't really come up with their own totally unique original ideas. They normally adapted something that was either historical or an existing story or somebody else's story. They did sometimes make extra stuff up in this. And in Twelfth Night, Shakespeare made up extra elements to this story. So it's not really like plagiarism or ripping things off or anything like that. It was just what people did in that era. That was just normal. So anyway, back to the world of the play. And Violet, there's a sense of hope there. So she's giving the captain some bit of money as a gratitude. I heard about Orsino there as well. I heard my father name me, who was a bachelor then. So this is the same Orsino we've seen in the first scene. And there's a little bit of... I just highlighted that because there's a bit of antithesis there. Great ones do, the less will prattle of. It just means gossip. Ordinary people will gossip about celebrities, effectively, same as in the present time. So just normal people are obsessed with celebrities, same then as it is now. So it's just I just thought as a nice little observation from Shakespeare that's a little throwaway line, but I thought, well, it connects to the modern world in many ways. So we get Shakespeare reiterating through the captain some of the ideas that we saw. Remember when Orsino was overjoyed to think of Olivia grieving for her brother and seeing that as an opportunity of love? We're getting a repetition here of just re-emphasising that particular piece of character context. We know that Olivia is not admitting anyone that Orsino is sending over. And Viola, again, she's depicted by Shakespeare as a very noble, decisive, and actually courageous character as well. As a female character, she's very interesting, particularly for the era. And in Shakespeare's time, obviously, women's rights were very limited, very, very limited. But paradoxically, of course, you've got Elizabeth I on the throne, who is effectively really like a tyrant, actually, like you really ruthless, decisive leader who, if you displeased her, your head was probably coming off. So you've got a very strange paradoxical world where obviously you've got the wider society must have recognised that women could hold positions of power because they had one right at the top. So anyway, Viola is reflecting in some ways those kind of Elizabethan attitudes there. Anyway, so Viola, there is fair behaviour in thee, captain, and though that nature with a beauteous walls doth oft close in pollution, yet of thee I will believe thou hast a mind that suits with this thy fair and outward character. This seems a bit weird, this line, but it actually makes sense in the wider context of the play. Because the play has a lot about themes about appearance versus reality, what happens there is you've got Shakespeare's having Viola showing her... One thing he's doing is showing her perception, like she knows this captain is a trustworthy guy. The other thing is that it's important to say as well is the idea of... She says sometimes people might look good, but they might actually be bad. And in this case, this isn't the case. You go, you look like a nice person, and you're acting like a nice person, and you are a nice person. And that's also important because he's going to help keep her secret, which he's just about to do right here, which is, I'll pay thee bounteously, conceal me what I am. So this links back to what I said right at the start about the alternate title of the play, Twelfth Night, or What You Will. Viola wills herself into this new identity. She's going to disguise herself as a man. I'll serve this duke. As a woman on her own, she's in danger. She's very vulnerable in a strange country. We actually find out later in the play there has been some historical tension. The play doesn't go into massive detail at this, but Viola's from a place called Messaline, another country, and there seems to have been some tensions in the past between Illyria and Messaline, and it's not necessarily going to be safe for her just wandering around as a woman from Messaline, and she's in danger. So she's going to disguise herself as a man. I'll serve this duke. Thou shalt present me as an eunuch to him. I have to be careful how I talk about this because of YouTube rules, but yeah, a eunuch, be careful how you're looking it up is what I'll say. But a eunuch is, how can I put this gently, a man who's had certain key parts, physical parts of being a man removed. And this is, in modern productions, they don't really dwell on this line. I've seen somewhere they've actually cut out that line, actually, because it just seems a bit jarring and a lot of people don't really know what a eunuch is. And what Shakespeare's doing is it would explain the feminine qualities, or at least the less masculine qualities, of Viola's new male identity. So it would explain like the differences in the voice, why the voice would be higher pitched. It may be worth thy pains, for I can sing and speak to him in many sorts of music that allow me very worth his service. So yeah, a lot of I have seen, yeah, a lot of them cut that line out when I think about it. Anyway, the captain is "Be you his eunuch and your mute RB." So this captain actually he's not in it again. He gets mentioned later on in the play, but the idea is that Viola's going to adopt a new identity, and he'll adopt a new identity as in he's going to be secret. A mute is someone who doesn't ever say anything. He's not going to give anything away about Viola's plans. When my tongue blabs, then let mine eyes not see. I thank thee, lead me on. So Viola again, Shakespeare ending the scene. Viola she's got a plan. She's decisive. Captain's going to keep a secret, and presumably the other sailors as well. They don't get any cash for it, but let's just assume they just do as the captain tells them, and that's it. So that is the end of scene 2. Another short little scene. Thank you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, notification bell. Stay tuned. Thank you, and goodbye.